Have you ever been totally lost on your first day of work? Well, today we're going to follow a guy named Mark through that exact nightmare in a huge skyscraper in Montreal. And believe me, his chaotic journey is going to be our French lesson for navigating any big building.
So, Mark is late, he's lost, and he's completely overwhelmed. But his challenge is our opportunity to learn. We're going to follow his little adventure and pick up some really key French words and phrases for getting around. All right, let's jump right in.
Okay, so our story kicks off with Mark's arrival. Scène 1. L'arrivée. Let's see how his day gets started.
All right, let's hear the first part of our story in French. So the first key term here is édifice. Now, this isn't just any building. It's a large, pretty impressive one. And you'll notice the setting, au Quebec. This little detail that he's in Quebec is a super important clue that is definitely going to come back to haunt Mark a little bit later.
Okay, so he's arrived. Let's listen to what he does next.
He finds l'accès au garage, the garage entrance, and parks down in le Sous-sol, which is the basement. Here's a pro tip. Keep an eye out for SS on elevator buttons. It's basically the French equivalent of B for basement.
All right, now he's inside the building. Let's see how his journey begins.
Whoa, a lot just happened there, so let's break that down. He hops in l'ascenseur, the elevator, to monter, which is our key verb meaning to go up. He gets out at the rez-de-chaussée, the ground floor, and you'll often see that marked as RC. So now his big mission is to trouver, to find his boss, and of course he starts where we all do when we're lost, la réception.
Okay, so Mark is officially lost. Let's listen to his first attempt at asking for help.
Okay, let's look at what he said. He starts with Je cherche le Secrétariat. That is such a simple and direct way to say, I'm looking for the administrative office. Then he follows up with the very formal and polite, Pourriez-vous m'aider? Which is, of course, can you help me?
So the receptionist points him in a direction. But this is where a really key cultural difference is about to come into play.
Okay, pay close attention to this one because it is huge. In Montreal, a concierge in an office building is the superintendent or the caretaker. This is completely different from the hotel concierge in Europe who books you show tickets. Getting this one wrong could lead to some seriously confusing conversations. So Mark has his first lead. Let's move on to scene 2, the first floors, and see if finding this concierge is as simple as it sounds.
So he gets another tip, and this is where that little au Quebec detail from the very beginning becomes absolutely critical.
So the man tells him the concierge is on the premier étage. Now, if Mark were from Paris, this is the exact point where his day would get even more confusing.
And here is the key difference. In Quebec, just like the rest of North America, the ground floor is the rez-de-chaussée, or RC. The next floor up is the premier étage, the first floor. Makes sense. But in France, the ground floor is also the rez-de-chaussée, but what a North American would call the second floor is their premier étage. It's a classic mix-up. Luckily for Mark, he's in Montreal.
So Mark heads up to the 12e étage, the second floor, and finds a cafeteria but no concierge. He spots a student and kind of switches up his language.
You see, with the receptionist, he used the very polite Je voudrais savoir où est, but now with a student, he uses the informal Sais-tu où est, using that familiar tu form. And he's looking for a specific locale, which is just a room or an office.
The stress is really starting to mount. So for scene 3, l'ascenseur, Mark's search turns into a pretty frantic climb through the building.
And the climb begins. He flies past the troisième or third and quatrième, fourth floors. He spots le restaurant on the cinquième, the fifth floor, and just keeps on going, right past the sixtième and septième floors.
So he finally pauses on the huitième, the 8th floor, and asks for the director's bureau, her office. He uses another polite phrase, J'aimerais savoir où se trouve. I'd like to know where is located. And the answer? He has to go up again, of course, to the 9e, the 9th floor.
Mark is completely out of time and patience, so for scene 4, Les Sommets, he decides to just skip ahead and head for the top floors.
So he takes the elevator way, way up. He passes the gym on the 21e, the 21st floor, then la piscine, the pool, on the 31e, the 31st, and he finally gets out on the 41e. This has to be it, right?
He spots an elegant woman and pulls out his most formal French yet. Savez-vous où se trouve? He's still using that polite se trouve, but now he's inverted the verb for maximum formality. He explains he can't find le bon numéro, the right number.
And finally, success. His boss is in the salle de conférence. It's the dernier, the last, door on the left. Of course, the woman can't resist a tiny little jab, telling him he just needs to savoir, to know, how to read a map.
And that key verb here, savoir, means knowing a fact or knowing how to do something. This is a great distinction to remember because the verb connaître is used for being familiar with people or places. So, with that final piece of info, he finds the dernier door and his race is over.
From the Sous-sol all the way to the top floor, we've covered how to ask for directions, name different parts of a building, and even navigate those tricky cultural differences in counting floors. So what about you? After all this, do you think you can navigate that edifice better than poor Mark did?